I really believe that your life, the way it looks right now, is a direct reflection of the choices you make. So it's entirely up to you to look at that and be, is this how I want my life to be? If not, what should I change? What should I do to make it better so I can actually be proud of my life? I believe so much in being in control of your own life. And when you want to change something, you have to go do it and not think about it or tell people you're going to do it, but just do it.
Welcome to the Coachability Code podcast. This is your host, Jordan Ring. Coaches, you ready to be coached? Let's go. All right, everyone. Thanks for joining me on another podcast episode. Super excited for today's guest. I have Rinske here with me today. She has been someone I've been connected to for the last few years. She has been my style coach and just has been an amazing person to get to know. So I'm super excited to have her on the podcast. Rinske, thanks you so much for joining us. If you could just introduce yourself briefly, and then I'll jump in with some questions for you.
Sure. Thank you for having me, Jordan. So yeah, I'm Rinske. I am a personal stylist for entrepreneurs, and I've been doing this for the past, what has it been? Like almost a decade, I would say.
Amazing.
3 years. Yeah, 3 years for myself. And yeah, I'm super happy to be here and to talk more about coaching with you, Jordan.
Cool. Awesome. So if you could tell us your favorite book, favorite movie, and then one weird thing about you that not everyone knows and that you're comfortable sharing on a podcast.
All right. So my favorite book is actually a series of books. It's a fiction series of books called The Seven Sisters by Lucinda Riley. And I love reading those books because they are, I think, over 600 pages. And when I open those books, I just get completely lost in them in a good way. It really makes me switch off and picture how everything is happening. Yeah, it's a series about sisters who are adopted and they're going to find their history and how they've been adopted and everything. So it's an amazing series. Favorite movie is La La Land. Very cliche,
Okay.
but yeah,
No, I love that movie.
Oh, good.
It's so good.
Yeah, I love how it's kind of like romantic, but also pulls you back into reality. So yeah, and a weird thing about me. That's a good question. I'm not sure if this is really weird, but I get a lot that I come across as cold, maybe more in kind of the real life, but I try to soften that a little bit with the clothing I wear strategically.
Yeah. Okay. Nice.
So not sure if that's really weird, but that's the first thing that comes up. Yeah.
No, I think that's a great answer to the question. I love it. So, Rinske, how do you
Thanks.
normally answer the question? Someone says, "Hey, Rinske, what do you do?" How do you start that?
This is something I've been refining a lot over
Yeah.
the years. Right now, I tell people that I help business owners and entrepreneurs, male business owners and entrepreneurs, refining their personal style and make sure that they feel as good. Yeah, that they feel as good as they feel inside on the outside about their image and how they come across, kind of level their image with their success, if you want. Yeah.
No, and I will say, like, and I was super excited to have you on because my experience with you has been exactly that. Because before it was like, I don't know what I'm supposed to wear to certain things. I don't have this feeling of confidence in clothing. And I never saw the thing that those as connected, like my confidence and what I wear. I was just always, okay, I'll wear whatever. But now it's just wherever I go, I have the confidence that, okay, I have an outfit for that, or I feel like it's so much easier. So we can get into more of a, like, my experience with it too. I mean, I don't want to take up the whole podcast, but I enjoy the whole experience. And like exactly what you said right there is a great way of describing, because that was my experience. So
I'm
that,
glad.
yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So what would you say someone is the primary reason someone says, "Hey, I want to work with you. I want your help with XYZ." What are their problems, if that makes sense?
Well, I think the most common thing I hear is men like you that have their life kind of set up, a business they enjoy having that works well, nice relationships, maybe a family, but all of that doesn't really come out as the way through the way they present themselves. And clothing is very often, like you just mentioned, like underestimated of how much of an influence that has on actually all those other parts of your life. So a sentence I really hear a lot is, I feel like I'm still dressing like I'm in my early 30s while I'm like more towards 40 right now. And
Yeah.
I need to come across as more professional, taken seriously, and level with the rooms that I'm in.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah, and I'll share too. Like I went to a business conference recently, and again, that decision of what do I wear, what to bring with me, it was made so much easier. I had to think about it, but it wasn't like, okay, I'm going to wear this day. It was like I already was bringing my clothes with me, and the style was there, and it wasn't something I had to super consciously think about through each day. It just made that specific experience easier, where I didn't have to make a big to do about it. But because of what we did together, because of your coaching, it was like, okay, I know some of the basics here. I'm not just like trying to just figure it out all on my own. So anyway,
Well, I'm glad that what we did together worked, actually, Jordan.
yeah, me too. So if you had to think about some of your best students, or not, maybe not students, but people that you've helped over the past years, do you have people that come to mind that are some of your best? Some of the people that took your advice to heart, some of the people that really were able to take what you shared and run with it? Because it's always that like back and forth in a coaching relationship. It's yeah, you can help and you're giving the advice, but you're also trying to empower them and make them be able to make the decisions when they go out and have that confidence in themselves. So yeah, you don't have to name anyone specifically, but what I want to know is what did that look like? What was their differentiator kind of that helped them?
Sure. Well, to start, there were many, actually, luckily. I think some of the things they had in common were the fact that they were open enough to share their honest thoughts, that also share or be open enough to share about their life, their true feelings, their true taste, like not being afraid that I would judge them or say that stuff was weird. Because in the end, it's quite of an intimate thing, right? Clothing. It's what you wear every day, the choices you've made over the past few years, and it really defines you. So my best clients, let's say, were people who were very open, that weren't afraid to be honest with me. That's something I value a lot, and that works really well in a relationship like this. Because, I can tell you wear this because it looks good, but if you absolutely hate it, like you should be able to tell me so you don't
Yeah.
feel, well, not good at all in your clothing, right? Because that's not the goal. So, yeah, I think I would say being open, honest, and sitting just at that sweet spot of trying things outside of their comfort zone just to dive into the experience, what they committed to. But yeah, again, also being honest enough to give a little pushback if I'm taking them too far out of the comfort
Yeah.
zone.
And I wonder how far like how important is that willingness to try different things? Because I remember that as part of our intake. That was one of your questions
Mm.
you asked me, like, Jordan, are you willing to try just different things that may be outside of your comfort zone? And even for me, I was like, yes. And am I really? I think I am, Maybe that can bleed into the next question too. Have you had people that have either A, said they are willing but actually weren't, or B, that said that, hey, you know what, I'm not willing to go too far outside of my comfort zone? And
Yeah.
then was that a challenge to work with them?
Absolutely. So usually this is something I had to learn, but usually when I have people in front of me that are not really willing to do something different than they're doing right now, I decide that it's not a good fit. And this is something that
Mm,
I had to learn over time, because you invest in your image, you want to step away from everything you've been doing so far. So for that, I'm going to need you to be open to change. And to answer your other question, yes, there have absolutely been men I worked with who would tell me, yeah, I want to change, I want to do things differently. And in the end, it turned out that they were not ready for that, weren't ready for other challenges that come with changing up your image, like having a good look at your body, how you feel about your body, the budget that you want to spend, like how much do you want to put aside to make this successful. So, yeah, that has been a challenge, but nothing we couldn't solve or get past. And
Yeah.
a very big lesson for me as well.
And with all that, what would you say that your biggest challenge has been?
Mm, I think over the past years, I've been refining my process, also narrowing down who I really want to work with. And throughout that process, there have been times where I worked with people with who I felt in my gut maybe a little bit that it wouldn't be the bestest of matches, but we went in anyway. And things like this would come out, like someone who wasn't actually willing to change,
Okay.
someone who wasn't ready to commit. And I take that very much onto myself because I am at the door, right? I choose who I let in. I also need to vet my clients and tell them this is what's expected from you. This is what I will do. But, this is a two-way street. So being honest with myself and being selective, who is really, really my dream client and not settle for less. Because, yeah, I want to help a lot of men, but I think the men I help best are the ones that are my dream client. So,
Yeah, and I so resonate with that. That's something I've had to learn as well. Even what you said there of what do I expect from my clients? That's something
yeah,
I've really had to I even work it into my proposals now and I say, okay, if I do all this, this is what I need from you. And it's never expansive because of course they're coming to me and they want me to write their books. They need help with that. And they
yeah,
don't need someone that's going to make them do a bunch of work. But still, at the same time, it's good to have those expectations because I can't tell someone's story without getting their story, right? If you just
yeah,
want to pay me to do the job, that's not what I do. Even if I'm ghostwriting it, there's a lot of coaching there too. I'm trying to pull some stories out because we want it to be your book. And I think similar to what you do, it sounds like you want it to be theirs and for them. It's not just you, and you can speak to this too, but it doesn't seem, and like at least my experience was this way. It doesn't seem like it's just you picking out some clothes and some links and say, okay, go buy these, try them on. It's very much tied to who they are, who they want to be, what their brand is, and everything. And it's in a lot of ways very similar to what I do too. I don't want to just create a product. I want it to be tied to their business and tied to what they do. So how much of that is part of how you think of things?
yeah, absolutely. No, I can really imagine that for you when you wrap up the project you did with a client, you want them to take all of the things, all of the knowledge you shared with them and apply it to the next book that they will write or
Yeah.
have that knowledge. And that's exactly what you said. I'm willing to send my clients beautiful outfits that will look well on them, but I also really want them to understand, why does this work for you? Why is this color so great? Why should we avoid this type of pants or these types of shoes if you're going to a conference? So yeah, I think it's a two-way street. And yeah, that was a lesson for me.
Yeah. And this is something you do really well on your Instagram, especially because I follow you there, but you do a good job about sharing the breakthrough moments for your clients. So are there any ones that come to mind specifically that you were just like, yes, this is why I do what I do, because I get to see these
Oh.
moments? Or you don't, I mean, you could list 10 if you wanted to, but maybe just a few that come to mind.
Well, I would love to list 10, but let's keep it to one. There's one client I've worked with out of Ireland, and he has, or at that time, he had a young family, just had a newborn, and the other baby was like 1.5, I think. So, really, something you can probably very much relate to right now, just
Yes.
so much going on. And during or kind of at the end of our work together, he shared a picture of me at a random day of him and his wife dressed up in one of the outfits I helped him pick out, with the caption or with the message saying, after the birth of our second baby, we finally got to go on a date together again after all these months. I love putting that kind of effort in for her. So that made me feel really, really great and
Yeah.
proud as well. Yeah. Yeah, because it has
No.
such an impact and you don't really get to see that, especially because I'm working virtually, right? Of
Yeah.
course, we're calling, messaging, and everything, but these are kind of those nuggets that, yeah, for that I would wish to be a fly on the wall. But hey, I'm really happy that he sent me that message. So,
No, it's cool because yeah, there's always going to be more than that happening that you don't hear. But at the same
Mm,
time, it's really helpful to us as coaches to get that little bit of, oh, that's why
yeah.
I'm doing this. So that's amazing.
Yeah.
Thinking back to over the past year, what is one major lesson that you've learned as a style coach?
Yeah, I think actually that's what we just touched on before. I think the biggest lesson is not to become a slave to your own business.
That's great.
And
Yeah.
really, really remembering why you do this work, with who you want to do this work, and enjoy it as much, and having that feeling like you have when you start the business. I could do this for free, and keep up with that. And for that, I think it's really important for me. The biggest lesson was that I can be precise about a specific persona or type of man I would like to work with. So it stays fun. And I know that we will have a very successful engagement together. So, yeah, I think that was one of my biggest lessons, because 2025 went really well, but at some point it went really well. And I just got a bit overwhelmed. I was
Hmm.
working all the time, and it's nice until it gets too much and you need to find the right balance again. So,
Yeah, it's such a tough balance as like business owner, freelancer. It's like the up and downs. Like when you're in the downs, you're like, I'm going to say yes to everything. Then as soon as you
yeah.
say yes to everything, you're like, okay, the bank account's looking good. What am I doing? I have no time in my life. But it does help. I always tell
Yeah.
people, I told this people the other day, they're like, oh, Jordan, you're so busy. I'm like, yes. And I really do love what I
Mm,
do. And that does make a big difference. Like you can almost afford the mental capacity to work even harder and longer if it's something you really
mm.
enjoy. It doesn't mean we need to work all the time. Yes. And absolutely, we don't want to become slaves to our
No.
businesses because that can absolutely happen.
Mm,
But it's fun either way. The downs are fun and no, not so much fun, but they're part of it. And then because we know the
yeah,
ups are coming. So,
absolutely.
Rinske, what areas have you been coached in your life? And how has that helped you become a better coach? And while you're thinking about it, I wanted to say, I think one of the biggest takeaways from our work together wasn't even style related. It was, wow, she runs a really good, I was going to say service, but really good business in terms of making me feel like I was getting a lot of value at all stages. And I say this honestly, there was a lot of takeaways. It was sending me a welcome gift in the beginning. Just the communication throughout was really good and really solid. And then just what I actually received, right? The value and the coaching in the process and some clothes that I could wear and feel confident in. But it was like the really valuable part of the coaching. So yeah, I share that to say that helped me. I transferred that thinking over into my own business. I had the question, I was like, okay, how can I do those specific things? So I've started to send welcome gifts to my people because I
Yay.
know I just how I felt when I got that. I was like, it wasn't a huge major thing, but it didn't need to be. It was just to
Mm,
say that it was that initial Jordan, thank you for trusting me. Thank you for joining. Thank you for starting this. And I thought that
yeah.
was a really neat thing. So any coaches listening to this, if they can work that into their process, doesn't have to be like you're giving them the world. It could just be sending them like I'm sending people a copy of my book and a couple other books that I like and say, hey, this is going to be the start of our journey together. You don't have to read these books, but if you have time, please do that. So anyway, just want to share that before you answer the question there.
Thank you, Jordan. Yeah. So I have been coached in mindset, and also, yeah, I would say content slash marketing. And I think both have been life changing, to be honest, because you can do everything right. But if your mindset is not set up for success, it doesn't make sense, and it won't change anything. So I really had to work on my mindset and feeling like, okay, I'm going to do this and I am successful, period. I am going to be successful, and that's it. And I was coached in content and marketing, and that has been equally life changing, because that's where I learned that you can speak to one specific person. And that doesn't mean that I will only speak to one person in the entire world. I will speak to a bunch of people that resonate maybe with a slight bit of that message that I'm sending out, or they will resonate with it in a completely different way that I never have imagined. But just because it's so specific, their mind will turn on kind of the message you're sending. So that has been really, really helpful. And I say that with a lot of confidence because when I'm on a call or I'm talking to clients, I can hear them repeating back the things I say in my content to me. And that's a
That's
sign to
amazing.
me that it worked. It worked.
Yeah. That's
So
such a good sign. Honestly, that's amazing.
yeah, yeah. So glad I did that.
No, super cool. I feel like that might be the answer to the next question, but what has been your most successful strategy for growing your coaching business or growing what you're doing right now?
Mm, yeah, being highly specific about who I want to work with, what they're going through, and listening very, very well. I think I've always been a good listener because otherwise I wouldn't be in this line of work, I think. But yeah, being hyper specific helps so much. Yeah.
Yeah, and when you got your start, were you non-specific? Was it through like a journey of kind of going too broad and then realizing, okay, I need to dial in? Or yeah, did you start dialed in and it worked right away?
No, I honestly it has been a journey.
Hmm.
I was super, super broad and thinking kind of maybe I'm not sure if that's a typical beginner's mindset, but more like, okay, if I speak to a very broad kind of profile and mention this and mention that, someone will relate to it. And so it was definitely a process. And over time, I went more and more specific. Even when I thought I was hyper specific, I went even a step further. And I think the further you go, the better it gets. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. So, Rinske, what is your soapbox? What's something that you just have to share with the world? And what's something top of mind, whether it has to do with style coaching or business in general? What's something you can't help but tell people whenever you're around?
Hmm. I'm not sure if this is something, yeah, maybe it is. I really believe that your life, the way it looks right now, is a direct reflection of the choices you make. So it's entirely up to you to look at that and be like, is this how I want my life to be? If not, what should I change? What should I do to make it better so I can actually be proud of my life? I believe so much in being in control of your own life. And when you want to change something, you have to go do it and not think about it or tell people you're going to do it, but just do it. I'm a very strong believer in that. Yeah, what I said, everything how your life looks right now, that's the result of the actions you took. So,
Yeah, and I won't stand on the soapbox too, but I feel like maybe that's one of the reasons we get along is because I feel that way so strongly as well with people,
yeah.
especially with like, don't just talk about it, go and do it. That's one of my big ones. But
Yeah.
it's seeing the potential of yourself and in your own life. And yeah, it's okay wherever you're at, but maybe it's not okay for you in your mind to stay there. Think about where you can go from beyond. There's never any reason to be stuck forever, no matter what it is. If it's a job, if it's your any kind of situation. Like it's the people that will grow up and stay in the same place all their lives and never
Yeah.
make any improvements. And I'm okay, but just step out for a little bit and see. You can always
Yeah.
decide to
Just
come
go.
back. If you decide to move back home, fine. But I don't remember the statistics, but the number of people are who live their whole life where they're born is staggering to me. It's like
Hmm.
they never even stepped outside of that bubble. But anyway, we won't stand too long on that. But this has been an amazing episode. There's going to be so many cool nuggets and bites out of this. Where can people find you and connect with you?
So the best way to find me is on Instagram on at the curated outfit. Wait, what is my, sorry. Yeah. So it's on
No worries.
Instagram at the outfit. I also have a website, thecuratedOutfit.com. But yeah, Instagram is the best place.
Okay, amazing. We'll make sure those links are in there. Is there anything else you want
Thanks.
to share with people today about what you do, about coaching, or anything, if there's anything else?
Well, first, I would really like to thank you, Jordan, for having me. And yeah, I always really enjoy speaking with you. Like you say, we get along really well. So thank you. what I would like to say to people is that your image is way more important than you think. And it's something, getting dressed and working on your style is something that can get so fun and effortless when you put in the work first. So go and do it, whether that be with a stylist, with me, or on your own. Just do it because it will make your life so much nicer and lighter and better. So, yeah, that's what I would like.
Amazing. Love it. I think that's a great place to end. Thank you so much for your time today. And thanks everyone for listening.
Thank you, Jordan.
Are you still here listening to this podcast? You're awesome. I got 2 CTAs for you. Number 1, subscribe to this podcast for more. And number 2, have you ever thought about writing a book? Contact Jordan. He can help you out. Jordan@jmring.com.